Coming up on Look Today, well, Warren County supervisors are adjusting their proposal for a ban on plastic bags. I've got details. Plus, chair of the former Saratoga Charter Review Commission is continuing the fight for transparency. More on that coming up. And we've got a case of crazy worms in the Tri-North counties. This you have to hear. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with Arnie Morehouse. He's Assistant Vice President of Marketing for Jaeger and Flynn Associates, and joined by Jill Vogel. She's Assistant Director, SUNY Adirondack Foundation. And they're here to talk about the upcoming Grip It and Rip It golf tournament. That's happening, by the way, June 15 at Highland Park Country Club in Queensbury. I also sit down with Bonnie Nelson. Now, she's Family Development Manager from Captain Community Human Services, and she's here to talk about the services that Captain provide to the community for those struggling with poverty. Now, we've also got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, Warren County Board of Supervisors are adjusting their proposal for a county-wide plastic bag ban. Now, at a recent Legislative and Rules Committee meeting, it was decided that the board is going to take a closer look at the proposal and make some changes before bringing it to the next meeting for discussion. Now, they've chosen to advocate for Governor Cuomo's statewide ban. The proposed county law targets grocery stores who use the majority of single-use plastic bags. Now, other establishments would not be required to comply. Well, we spoke to Claudia Bramer. She's Glens Falls Supervisor, Ward 3.
The last committee meeting, which was Legislative and Rules last week, we batted around the language, and we also had our Director of Weights and Measures there to help us with the enforcement piece. And he had some suggestions as to how we could tweak the language in our proposal to make it a little bit stronger and more enforceable and doable for him from an enforcement perspective. So we are meeting with him. I'm actually meeting with him tomorrow, and the county administrator and the county attorney. We're going to iron out that language, and hopefully we'll bring that back nice and solid back to the Legislative and Rules Committee's next meeting.
I, for one, am really glad they're looking at this proposal. In other news, we've got an update on the former Saratoga Charter Review Commission. Now, last week we reported that the FOIL request, the second one made by the former commission, was denied. Now, former chair of the Charter Review Commission, Bob Turner, has expressed frustration with this decision. He does not see a reason to hinder the release of the electronic ballots for transparency reasons. He plans to file another request soon. Well, we caught up to Bob and wanted to speak to him about his reason and why he feels it's important to continue filing.
Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify, and I feel like that's my feeling towards election outcomes. If we want to be confident that the machines are working and that all the votes are counted, I think the only way that it can be done is for the votes to be released. That would do more than anything else to ensure public confidence in the integrity of our electoral processes.
A reminder on that, out of approximately 9,000 votes that were cast, less than 10 votes was the deciding factor. Switching from news to weather. Well, today was rainy and cool. Temperatures only in the 50s. Well, let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser with your first look weather update on Look TV. Right now, we're going to experience plenty of showering weather departing the northeast as that system is pulling away. And let's take a little tired view as that warm front drifts northeastward. As you can see, that cold front advancing through our area as well. And heading into your Tuesday, we're going to experience high pressure. There is a secondary front to our northwest that could provide even cooler weather as we head along during the week. Mostly cloudy, a few scattered showers, 47 the overnight low, southwest wind about 5 or so miles per hour. As we take a look at the early morning forecast 30 to 40% chance of scattered showers. May see a peak of sunshine or two, but look at the temps rather on the cool side, upper 40s to lower 50s. And we could see some patchy dense fog early on Tuesday. Highs will only be in the mid-60s, featuring a southwest wind of roughly 5 or so miles per hour. Beyond that, may see a few showers on Wednesday with a high of only 65, mid-70s, then eventually upper 70s when we get towards the weekend with sunshine. Lows will be back in the mid-50s. This is going to get drier, warmer as we head along during the late end of the work week. That was your first look weather update on Look TV. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser. Now I send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. All right, back to the news. Guess what? We've got a case of crazy worms in the Tri-North counties. Personally, I don't understand how a worm could be crazy. Their brains are the size of a head of a pin. All right? But nonetheless, crazy worms are a nematode invasive species that originate from East Asia. Now, don't let the name fool you. Crazy worms can be detrimental to the ecosystems as they feed off of the nutrients in soil, thus harming vegetation. They also secrete a poison that kills other types of worms. Sound like politicians. They're up to 8 inches in length with a white band around their middle. If you come across it, stomp on it. Throw it in the trash. Dispose of it. How's that for a story? Up next, I sit down with Arnie Morehouse, Assistant Vice President of Marketing for Jaeger & Flynn Associates. We're joined by Jill Vogel, Assistant Director of SUNY Adirondack Foundation. And they're here to talk about the upcoming Grip It and Rip It golf tournament. It's happening June 15, Highland Park Country Club in Queensbury. And I also sit down with Bonnie Nelson. She's Family Development Manager from Captain Community Human Services in Clifton Park. And she's here to talk with us about the services that Captain provide to those struggling with poverty in our community. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Talk about crazy worms. 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Monday, so we like to look ahead. The Burnt Hills Oratorio Society is coming in. Second time for them. Always a lot of fun. Yes, we might sing a little bit. This week, another edition in Look at Law. We're finding out that people are very interested in this series we're doing. The new GM for Aviation Mall in Queensbury is coming in. Talk about the shifting habits consumers have in terms of shopping. That should be very interesting. Chad Rabinovitz, a favorite, is coming in, Adirondack Theater Festival, to tell us about the upcoming summer season. And last but not least, a look at has to go to the Adirondack Folk School, Scott Hayden and his team. This past weekend, my wife and I were honored to be at their fundraising dinner. I gave a speech, by the way, and they presented me with a beautiful plaque. You know, there's something about the Adirondack Folk School, and it came out in the conversation we were having about the power of education, and that the Adirondack Folk School allows people to communicate with each other, socialize with each other, learn traditions, history, hands-on, tactile feel. Realize most of what I just said doesn't live in this technological world. I really encourage all of you to, their catalog is out, the Adirondack Folk School. Sign up for a course. They're 60% ahead of where they were last year. So it's obviously catching on. And Mark Westcott, by the way, yes, the same Mark Westcott, roasted me before I gave my speech. And let's just say in cahoots with Antoinette here, they did a pretty good job. In all, it was a lot of fun. All right, tonight on Look TV, Beyond the Headlines and Warren Watch, a new one with Mark Westcott. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.